and a good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you. The good and more people of the tube. Hope today, hope you're feeling grand and all is well in your world. I am stuffed, people of the tube. I just had a fajita wrap from Costa Coffee, and I'm stuffed like a Thanksgiving turkey. Anyway, welcome to the A&Q Wednesday, people of the tube. So let's get to question one, shall we? I think we shall. Yes, let's go. Got some energy to burn, so let's go. So question one today is. How do you practice timing? Also, have you ever learned a solo note for note, got it perfect at home, but at rehearsal it all falls apart? Yes, I think everyone's done that, and again, that's the point. I'll come back to the timing thing in a minute, but yeah, the whole thing of learning something at home, it's not the same. Playing at home is kind of like almost a zero. I mean almost. It's almost a zero. Pressure situation. When you're sat at home in your room or wherever you are, just playing your guitar, it's a zero pressure situation. You don't have to, you don't have to be necessarily on it because there's nobody there. I mean, it pays if you are, and it pays to you to be very critical of yourself when you are in that situation. But it is still very low pressure. So when you go to a rehearsal or a gig or whatever, then yeah, definitely things can fall apart, and that has happened to me. Yeah, I mean, it used to happen a bit, but I hated it so much that I became I was like, this isn't happening again. I'm determined will not happen again. So I just practice and practice and practice and practice, and again, because I've gigged constantly since I was 16. It's like playing live or playing at rehearsal now. It doesn't really phase anymore, you know what I mean? I'm still nervous obviously when I do stuff, but it doesn't really phase me. I'm quite happy for the challenge, and I like the pressure of performance. I really love it. So and again, I perform all the time on the channel, the guitar demos and stuff like that, so I really like it. But yeah, I mean, I have done solos before where it fell apart. I remember once, people would do, but when would it have been? That would have been 2003. It's got to be 2003. It's before I had Mr. White. So in 2003, I remember doing a gig, or it could have been early 2004. Either way, I don't remember exactly. But I did a gig with my first ever band I was in, and we used to cover I Believe in a Thing Called Love by The Darkness, and I did all the solos. So the first solo, Justin solo, and then I did Dan's solo, and then I did the outro solo, Justin solo again. And first solo went fine. Second solo went fine. Came to the third solo, I had a total memory blank. I was like, I don't know what it is. I just totally lost it. And I didn't really know. So what I did was, I ran down the high E string from the last fret of my guitar, my Les Paul it would have been. I went from the last fret, the 22nd fret, and just went for the whole solo. That's what I did, because I didn't know what else to do, and there was actually footage at the time of that. I don't know where that footage went, it's gone. But it was hysterical, because I was like, I don't know what the song was. And the rest of the band just kind of looked at me and said, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know, I'm improvising, because I didn't know what I was doing. And I'd totally forgotten the solo. So, yeah, that's happened before. There's other solos I've forgotten as well. When I'm doing them, like, I don't know what to do. But I think it's funny. And again, you have to fail to learn to be good at something. It's... I think that's one of the most important things of learning an instrument, is knowing that you're going to mess it up before you get it right. You're going to screw it up royally before you get it right, and that's the point. Failure is a good thing. To fail at something is a really good thing, because it teaches you all you need to know about that situation or that thing that you're learning. We all have to fail. I do feel that in this day and age, there's a lot of fear of that, especially in the music community, of it has to be perfect all the time. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It can have mistakes. It can have things here and there, because again, you learn from that, and if you learn from that, you should then go away and go, right, well, I'm not having that again. I'm not letting that happen again. I'm going to practice, and it's going to be perfect next time. It drives you on. It really does. It should spur you on. And I always like this thing that Phil X said. Phil X said something along the lines of like when he's touring with Bon Jovi, he says because so many people are filming the show with their phones, he said you can't have an off night because people will see it. So he says he uses it as a kind of like an incentive to go, right, gotta be on it, can't be off tonight, can't phone it in, gotta be 100% no matter what happens. And just practices and practices and practices until it is literally perfect and it's just flawless every night. I mean, I'm sure he does mess up. I'm sure there's mistakes. But again, he's so well trained. I mean, he's so well rehearsed and the thing, you won't even notice. You'll never see it. You'll never know. I have a video coming about mistakes soon, people of June, which I'm about a certain artist, which I want to talk about. But then that's not for now. But yeah, totally cocked it up in the past. Who hasn't? Everyone has. Everyone has. I don't care who you are. Jimi Hendrix has done it. Richie Blackmore's done it. Eric Clapton's done it. John Frusciante's done it. Everyone's messed up. Even if you can't tell, they have. So, coming back to the first part of it, it's like, how do you practice timing? So I practiced my timing by playing along to albums. I would play along to bands. I play along with bands, and that's how I developed my meter, my inner meter, is by doing that. I don't like using a metronome. I find it too clinical. When I got my first drum machine, it was an absolute epiphany because I realised I could play along to drums, and not actually have to have a drummer. I could just press play on the drum machine, let it go, and I can practice over the top of it. And so that's what I did. I never really use a metronome. It goes tip, boop, 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 beep, boop, because it drives me insane. I hate the beepy noise. If I have a metronome, it has to be a hi-hat or something like that. I can't have the sterile metronomic beats. It drives me insane. But that's how I did it. And again, I've been playing in bands. I've been playing along to the Chili Peppers and Pearl Jam and all these amazing bands for as long as I can remember, and I learnt my timing through playing along to them. That was what I did as I spent my time playing along to them, and because their timing's locked in, that's how I did it, and that's what I did. I don't really like metronomes myself personally. I mean, if a metronome works for you, awesome. For me, it doesn't work. I don't like it. So when I record songs and whatnot, invariably I'll record to a hi-hat or a full drum beat. When the trio did Wicked Game, when we recorded Wicked Game, I found a drum beat on the Boss RC10 that resembled what I wanted the drum beat to be. And I used that for the rhythm track of that song. And that was it. And it just gives you a bit to lock in, and everything else comes from you. So yeah, so that's that. So I hope I made some kind of sense anyway. So I'm going to move on to question 2 now. I've just realised the battery is not charged very much on this camera, so hopefully there'll be enough battery. The fear is here. The fear is always here. So question 2 today is quite long. So I'm trying to decide between the Orange Super Crush and Boss Katana Head. Okay. Okay, and then you go on to explain a few things. So between the Orange Crush and the Boss Katana. It's a difficult one. If you want versatility, go Boss Katana. The Boss Katana is way more versatile than the Super Crush. The Super Crush is just a straight ahead amp, whereas the Boss Katana is everything. It's just insane. It really is. So it depends on what you want it for. I mean, did you explain really? It's kind of looping. Okay. So you have the Katana combo already. So, and you said, like, adding the orange would be nice to get different tones. So, and you're not sure if you'll love the Super Crush as much as the Katana. Well, the only way to go on from there is to get the Super Crush. If you've already got the Katana, then yeah, go for the Super Crush. If you don't like it, just flog it. Again, failing. This is the thing. Is like, the gear I have now and the gear that I love, I have because I've tried everything. I've not so much in previous years because not a lot's come out really that I really want to try. But I've tried so much stuff that I just know what I like and I know what I want from it. So to go away and literally, go for the Super Crush would be my thing. And if you don't like it, take it back, get the Katana. That's what I would say here. And but you never know, it might work out. You might love the Super Crush even more than you think. But you've got to take these risks. You can't just kind of like go. You can't just kind of go, well, which one do I get? Get the one that you think you'll like. And you might. And if you don't, then you don't. It's as simple as that. You can take it back or you can sell it and get the other one. There's always options. You're not lumped with it forever. If you don't like it, it's not a case of like, no, you can never sell me. I'm here for life, even though you hate me. If you don't like it, you flog it. You get rid of it. So my advice would be, because you've already got the Katana, go for the Super Crush. Different sound altogether. A lot more simple. It's just an amp. It doesn't have inbuilt effects. It doesn't have anything like that. It's just what it is. It's straight down the line, analog, solid state amp. It's not digital like the Katana as well, so it's totally different. So that would be what I say. And if you don't like it, just take it back and get the Katana. And go from there. But again, you have to fail at things to know what's right. You can't just kind of like be told, because again, everyone's different. I've just recommended you to go out and get the Super Crush. But you might hate the Super Crush. But you need to know that in the first place. I can only advise. I can't say if you're going to love it or not. But from the perspective of you've already got a Katana, I would say, go for Super Crush because of variety. But again, it might work better if you have two Katanas. I don't know. And again, I don't know you. I don't know your the kind of sounds you're after, this, that, and the other. So that's what I would recommend. But it's only a recommendation. It's not set in stone. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And you just take it back, get the Katana. Jobs are good. So yeah. But again, everyone's different. Everyone likes different things. And not everything will work for everybody else, if that makes any sense. So just bear that in mind. But like I say, you never know. Try the Katana. You said you're getting the Marshall JSM, not JSM, sorry, the 1960 lead cab, which is basically a JSM 900 cab. It's got the G12 75s in it. It's basically the same as my Magic cab here, and the cab I've got at home, which is definitely a Magic cab as well. But yeah, so just go for the orange. Go for something different, and if it doesn't work out, just flog it, take it back, swap it for the Katana, and see how you get on. So, I hope that's made sense. So, I'm going to move on to question 3 now. Okay, question 3 has 4 questions. 4 parts to it, shall I say. I hope this battery's going to last. It should do, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Hopefully. If it just cuts, then we know. We're not in the red yet. We're doing pretty good. Okay, so question 1 is, how did you get your custom Marshall MGs, because their finish is perfect? So the flexes are a thing that my friend Andy does, FA Guitar Cabs. You can look him up, FA Guitar Cabs. He's on Facebook. And he builds custom amp cases, boxes, basically. And it was a YouTube follower who messaged me saying, like, have you seen this? And Andy was flogging 2 Marshall. This is before I knew him. And he was selling 2 Marshall MGs inside Marshall Super Lead boxes. And to me, the Super Lead is the ultimate amp. The Super Lead, Super Bass. Not only do they look the coolest amp in the world to me, they also are the amp to me. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. Like, they really are. They're like the perfect amp. because you can do so much with them. They're so versatile, but like you can mod them really easily. There's not a lot to do. There's no finickiness about them. You just plug into them and they just work, and you can run them clean, and you can run them really hot. You can get amazing distortion, you get amazing clean tones, and they're just the sound. You know, the Plexi is such an iconic sound, and again, I love them to the max. So when I saw that somebody was putting one of my favourite amps in the world, the Marshall MG, inside a Super Lead head case, we went that night and I bought one. I bought the black one, which I wish I still had. I sold it. I'm an idiot. I wish I still had that amp, and I didn't, and I'm gutted, people do, because it was my first ever Flexi, and I sold it. But Andy makes them for me. You just have to contact him, and he'll build them for you. But his waiting list is very, very big. So be prepared to wait if you want him to do a Flexi. And they're called a Flexi because they're a fake Plexi, basically. And it was my friend Mark, who's a YouTube follower, who came up with that name, and I think it's brilliant. So yeah, the FA guitar cabs. My camera might last. It's fluctuating quite a lot on the battery. So part 2 of question 3, I think. Do you have some Red Hot Chili Peppers songs which Josh Klinghoffer played that you would play in a Frusciante style? Yes, I've done that. I did Dark Necessities. I did Rain Dance Maggie as well. Anyway, I'm going to move on from that one. Question 3, part 3 is, if you run 2 amps for getting the Marshall Silver Jubilee and the other for Marshall Major, which ones would they be and why? If I was doing that, I'd just run 2 Marshall MGs and have them set differently. I would have one Marshall MG set up on OD1 to be fairly clean, to emulate the Major, and maybe have quite a lot of low end on it. Maybe not all the low end, because the MGs are quite bassy, but maybe have it about 12 o'clock and set that one up clean, and then have the other MG set up more distorted. I'd probably have one, the Major, I'd probably have the gain on 4, and the Jubilee emulation would probably be on 6. People of YouTube, this sounds like a really interesting video. What do you think? And I'd probably run, yeah, like I said, I'd probably run the Jubilee-esque MG on gain on 6. And that way, I'd get the compliment of a cleaner amp and a more dirty amp, and the cleaner amp would give them more punch, whereas the dirty amp would give the definition, so to say. A clean amp would give more definition and punch, whereas the distorted amp would soften the load a bit and make it all nice and happy. I'm gonna have to do this. I need to make a mental note of this. I'm gonna do that. That's gonna be a video, people YouTube. Keep your eyes peeled for that one. So, yeah, that's what I would do. I'll just run 2 Marshall MGs. Or, failing that, 2 Boss Katanas. I wouldn't use the CRs. The oranges, they don't really do the John thing particularly well, I don't think. They're not quite there. Yeah, they're not. It's a Marshall thing. Okay, so part 4 of this was, which WH10 do you recommend for a low-budget John Frusciante pedalboard? Version 1, definitely not. Version 2, yes. Version 3, yes. So if you're on a budget, version 2 or version 3. Version 1, no, forget it. You're not going to get one of those cheap. So if I was recommending a WH10 for a budget, it'd be version 2 or version 3. They're both amazing. They both do the job, and they're both amazing. I've said it twice. It needs mentioning twice. It really does. And a 4th time. They're amazing. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend, version 2. So, final question of the day, people tune. I'm just going to make sure it is final question of the day. Yes, it is. Question 4. So question 4 has quite a few things which I'm going to have to rocket through. Well, not rocket through, but I will go as well as I can with the battery I have left. I'm a bit scared, people on YouTube, because if the camera cuts off while I'm not paying attention, this video is gone, and I have to do it all again, so I have to be aware. So, part 1 of question 4 is, what's your opinions on Chet Atkins and his style of playing, Travis picking? Can you do it? I can't do it, no, and I have no desire to do it. I'm not interested in doing Travis picking at all, but it is amazing, and I love Chet Atkins playing. How can you not? It's so cool. But for me, I don't really. It's not a skill. It's not a thing I'd like to add to my bow. It's a string I'd like to add to my bow. To be honest with you, I'm not interested in it at all. So part 2 is, do you like Scotty Moore's guitar playing? Oh yes. Number 3, are you a fan of Richie Blackmore? Massive fan of Richie. I love Richie. He's up there with, in my top 10 of favourite guitarists of all time, Richie is. Do you like the free humbucker 50s, 60s black Les Paul Customs with gold hardware? Yep, I had one until recently, the Epiphony. I sold it recently because I just wasn't playing it as much. And it needed to go to somebody who was going to play it. And unfortunately, it didn't. It's going to go to somebody who can play it, but it's going to be... and I didn't know this until later, people do, but it's going to be basically not looked after very well, which makes me very happy. As you can imagine, that's an amazing guitar, and it's basically just been destroyed already. So I'm not happy. But yeah, they're amazing. I love the customs. Part 5 is, are you a Bob Dylan fan? Yes. Do you enjoy his electric music with Bloomfield? Yes. It's amazing. Amazing stuff. And part 6 is, do you like the Kinks? Yes, I do. I love the Kinks. Again, I grew up listening to the Kinks. I always remember going around with my dad listening to kind of You Really Got Me or like a couple of other Kinks songs which I forget the names of now because I'm an idiot and never remember song names. Tired of Waiting? Is that the one? I don't want to hum it because I'm scared of copyright. But yeah, I am a big Kinks fan. I love them, and they're ace. I mean, Dave Davies is mad as Box of Frogs, but he's a cool guitarist. I love how he's playing that Flying V in that one video where he's got his arm through the back. It's so cool. Anyway, there we go, Pooch. I'm gonna have to stop there because my battery is literally on red now, so I'm gonna have to call it a day, unfortunately. So I have to cut this kind of A&Q short, sadly. But hope you enjoyed it. I hope there's something you can take away. As usual, the fear is here because I'm ending early, and it's like, that's rubbish, Dave. But I say battery dictates this. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this vid, PeelTube, and I will see you again very soon for another video. Have a great morning, afternoon, and good evening. And and if you like this channel, please consider becoming a patron at Patreon. It really helps me out. It keeps this channel going. Link to that in the description box below, as well as link to my Bandcamp as well. So thank you very much indeed, PeelTube. I will see you again. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening, and goodbye now. I need to charge my camera.